Hi, and thanks for watching this video, which is another view of blinken lights for my homebrew computer. So I've been adding the lights back in. In the last video you would have seen that, and here I've added some extra LEDs. I didn't have a 161 counter to add some extra lights, which I'll show in a minute what it's about, but I've got some from eBay, and so these are 74HC161 devices. This pack of 5 cost, I think, about £5 including delivery, so it's not very much money. But let's switch it on and I'll explain what we're seeing. So you see in the top right there, the computer has booted up, and now what we're seeing is the blinken lights on the ones that I've just added. And how are these flashing? So you see the other diagram on the right hand side of the 161 device, and it's quite a simple device. Basically there is pin number 2, which is the clock pin. That's the inputs, and whenever there's a rising edge on that input, it counts internally and outputs that count on pins 14, 13, 12 and 11, plus pin 15, which is called TC, that indicates overflow when the count reaches its maximum. There are some other pins here, of course. So D0, 1, 2 and 3 allow you to set the counter up at some starting value, which I'm not using. Pin number 1 is the reset pin, so I need to hold that high. And then I have pin number 7 and pin number 10 and pin number 9, which are essentially enable pins, and I set them all to high. So basically what you can see around these LEDs are some wires tying these pins to 5 volts. And then my clock input pin, you can see here 2 yellow wires. They're feeding from 2 different places on the motherboard. And at the moment, let me just move this keyboard out of the way if I can do it safely without messing something up. There we go. One of the wires is connected to the interrupt pin of the video chip, and that's where I'm currently. This brown wire, which is the clock input for the counter, is linked to that interrupt pin, and the video display interrupts 60 times a second, so it's the TMS 9918. And so all I'm doing is simply taking a 60 hertz rather input, which is then counting, and on my Q0, 1, 2 and 3 pins I've got the purple, blue, yellow or orange and red LEDs, and then in addition the pin 15 TC is flashing every time 16 counts have been completed. So that shows us that the counter is working. I can do various things on the display and the counter keeps going. If I go into high resolution mode, just watch the counter, you'll see it pause there. You see that what that was doing is because to go into high resolution mode I disable interrupts, it means that there is a little pause there on the counter. I'll try it again, but this time I will actually do it in a loop. So I'm just going to repeat, go into high res mode until 0, so it's going to go forever. Press enter. So now what you should be able to see is that the counter is flashing the lights much slower. And that's because I'm regularly switching off interrupts whilst I go into high res mode. If I break into that, and then it speeds up again. So that's one example of using the counter. It's not tremendously useful in terms of knowing what's going on. So that's why I've added another pin or another input on this other wire, which is going over here. So this one was the interrupt pin of the video chip. And I've got another one going over here to behind this ribbon cable, which is the chip select line of the SD card. Now, if I connect it to that, then I'll get a pulse every time the SD card is selected. So let's try that. I probably should do it with the computer switched off. So let me just move this brown wire over. I can get a hold of it. There we go. Moved it over now, so it's on the chip select line. Let's switch on and see what we see. So you saw a bit of activity there because during boot up, I'm reading the file system to check that there is something there that's readable. As you can see right now, just one light is on, actually the essentially Q0. If I do a DIR, which will result in accessing the SD card, watch what happens to the LEDs. So the chip was selected, which meant there was a pulse going in, and so that purple LED, which was switched on, was showing a value of 1, to the lowest, least significant bit, and so counting up, it went, the next bit went to a 1. So we're essentially doing binary counting. If I do another DIR, that's counting 3, so this and this is on. If I do another DIR, you can see bit 2 on pin 12 is now lit, and so you can see how it's counting up. And in fact, if let's see if I can do this in a repeat loop as well. Let's wait maybe a little bit and just go around in a loop doing a DIR. So you can actually see it counting up now. So now this counter is showing every time the SD card's accessed, which is kind of interesting. And we can see this in full action. If I, for example, if I change directory to demos/space, let's have a look at that. Let's load a program. So this is going to do more than just access the SD card once. It's going to load a program. So whatever's on the count right now, which is this high bit and this low bit, so that's 9. But if I press enter, we'll see that actually that was quite quick. I expected more SD card accesses, but each access is for 512 bytes of data from the SD card. If I list this, you'll see there's a short program, so it probably all fits into 512. And then let's run the program, because this will access the SD card to show lots of pictures. Let's just watch the counter here. So now you can see while it's loading a picture, it's obviously loading in quite a few blocks, and then it shows the picture for a while, and then it's accessed the next picture, and then it keeps counting up. So whilst that's counting up, we can also see the ROM bank lights are flickering, because I'm using different routines from different 16K blocks of ROM. And I can also see the address bus, address 15 and 14 lines are also flickering. So I'm able to now tell quite a lot about what's going on just by the nature of the blinken lights. So that's it for this video. I hope that made sense, and you'll be able to see how easily you can also add a 161 counter to your homebrew or other Blinkenlights projects. Thanks for watching this video.